Hey Talking fam, and welcome to another Talking Sports video. And today we're taking a look at the World Baseball Classic. It is officially here after 6 long years. It is bigger than ever. It will be expanded to 20 teams with 3 first-time participants in Great Britain, the Czech Republic, and Nicaragua, hoping for a Cinderella run. Now they will need to get past Japan, looking for its 3rd title, the USA hoping for a repeat, and the Dominican Republic, the pre-tournament favorite, and Puerto Rico trying to win it, all following back-to-back second-place finishes. Okay, there are 67 MLB stars, 186 players on the 40-man rosters, and 332 players under contract with the big league teams. There are 8 Major League MVPs in Paul Goldschmidt, Mike Trout, Shohei, Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts, Clayton Kershaw, Jose Altuve, and Miguel Cabrera. Now 16 of the top 18 finishers for the 2022 NL MVP and 6 of the top 10 finishers for the AL MVP are scheduled to participate. With the reigning Nippon Professional Baseball MVP, Nunetaka Murakami, and Korea Baseball Organization MVP John Ho Lee joining in as well. It will begin on March the 8th. It will be really good. You have Trout versus Ohtani, Mets versus Julio Urias, Bogaerts versus Darvish, Lee versus any number of big league pitchers who could be his teammate next year. Now, let's take a look at the rules and regulations. So, for the rosters, we'll submit a proposed final roster of no more than 30 players, each of whom must have been on that federation team's available player list, plus 1 manager and 7 uniformed coaches. An approved final roster shall include at least 2 pitchers and at least 2 catchers. The designated pitcher pool. Now, each federation team may identify a designated pool of 10 pitchers who are eligible to participate in 1 or more consecutive rounds. It is submitted to the WBCI at the time of provisional and final rosters are due. Now, this is to utilize the designated pitcher pool. The federation team's final roster shall include 1 or 2 pitchers from the pool. If no pitcher is listed from the pool on their submitted roster to WBCI, the team is prohibited from using the designated pitcher pool for the remainder of the tournament. Once it is named on a tournament roster and removed prior to the next round, the pitcher is no longer eligible to participate. Each round of the tournament, each pitcher from an advancing federation pitcher pool may be placed on the federation final roster with another pitcher from that federation's designated pitcher pool, provided that no member of the designated pitcher pool may be added to his federation's final roster once he has been replaced by another member of the designated pool. Affiliated members of the designated pitcher pool who are not included on their federation roster for a given round of the tournament should report to or remain with their major league club as directed by the club. If the pitcher being replaced is an affiliated pitcher, he must return to his major league club's spring training camp once he is no longer an active member of the federation's 30-man roster. The player eligibility. Each player on a team's approved provisional roster must be eligible to participate for that team. Now, a player will be eligible only if he's previously appeared on a team's final roster at the start of either a World Baseball Classic qualifier or tournament round, or he is a citizen of a federation team's country or territory, as evidenced by a valid passport the player holds as of 3 months prior to the start of the tournament, or he is currently a permanent legal resident of the federation team's country or territory. The player was born in the federation's country or territory, or the player has at least 1 parent who is, or if deceased, was a citizen of the federation team's country or territory, or the player has at least 1 parent who was born in the federation team's country or territory, as evidenced by a birth certificate or its equivalent, or he has documentary evidence satisfactory to WBCI that he would be granted a citizenship or passport in due course under the laws of the team's country or territory. The player restrictions per MLB club. Now, he will not approve They will not approve a player's participation in the tournament if such participation would cause an MLB club to have more than 15 members from its organization or more than 10 members who were on any MLB club or injured list as of the 31st of August in 2022. Now, unless the club informs the BBCI in writing that it has no objection to allowing additional players to participate. Notwithstanding the foregoing, it will retain the discretion to determine whether an otherwise eligible player is ineligible to participate in the tournament on the basis that such participation would pose an undue burden on his club. It limits a player participation from an MLB club are reached. It will choose which players will participate. The IR, injured personnel. So a federation team may replace a player, manager, or coach on its final roster if the player, manager, or coach is injured, and WBCI confirms that the player, manager, or coach has specific injury or ailment that renders the player or manager or coach unable to continue to participate in all of the tournament. They shall be ineligible to participate in any further tournament games, and they may replace on its final roster the player designated as injured with another player who had appeared on that available player list. Now, a pitcher designated as injured may be replaced only by a pitcher, and a player designated as injured who is other than a pitcher may be replaced only by a player other than a pitcher. A catcher who is designated as injured may be replaced only by a catcher if the injured player would otherwise cause the federation team to have fewer than 2 catchers. A federation team must provide a written request for replacement. If a player other than a catcher is injured in the first round of the tournament, no replacement for such player shall play until the beginning of the next round. If a player other than a catcher is injured in the quarterfinal round of the tournament, no replacement for such player shall play until the semifinals of the tournament. If a player is injured in the semifinals of the tournament, no replacement for such player shall be permitted. Now, bereavement / family medical emergency / paternity leave. A federation team may request that the player be given all of the leaves. No player may be given the leaves such unable to render services because of the serious or severe illness or death of a member of such player's immediate family, of such player's spouse's immediate family, as such other family member as the BBCI determines is in keeping with the spirit of this bereavement leave policy. No player may be given paternity leave unless that player is the father of a child whose delivery or adoption is imminent or has occurred within the prior 48 hours. The minimum period of bereavement emergency leave shall be 3 consecutive days, and the maximum period shall be 7 consecutive days, during which time the player is not permitted to be with the federation team. A player given the leave may be replaced on the final roster by another player who had appeared on that available player list. A pitcher given may be replaced only by a pitcher. Same thing pretty much. Playing rules. All tournament games shall be played according to the provisions of the 2022 official baseball rules as supplemented by these rules. The 3-batter minimum for the avoidance of doubt. It will be contained in 510 shall be enforced during the games. Mound visits. Now, in regard to limitations on the number of mound visits per game, it is not adopted for tournament games. Designated hitter is in regard to the use of the designated hitter is adopted. Replay regulations will be utilized as set forth by MLB replay regulations as may be amended by the WBCI. As such amendments shall be communicated to the clubs in advance. Pitch timer, base sizes, restrictions on shifts. They will be adopted to 2023 regarding the pitch timer, base sizes, and restrictions on defensive positioning is not adopted. Pitcher use limitations. A pitcher must not pitch until a minimum of 4 days have passed since he last pitched if he threw 50 or more pitches when he last pitched. Not pitch until a minimum of 1 day has passed since he last pitched if he threw 30 or more. Not pitch until a minimum of 1 day has passed since any second consecutive day on which the pitcher pitched. The aggregate number of pitches thrown in 2 successive games over 2 days is not used to determine player rest restrictions. Throw no more than 65 pitches per game in the first round, 80 pitches per game in the quarterfinal round, and 95 pitches per game in the championship round of the tournament. 0 unless the pitcher needs more to complete a batter's plate appearances. And throw no more than 49 pitches per exposition game for a Federation team, or the maximum number of pitches that WBCI sets forth for such pitcher for such exposition game. Extra innings. For any extra innings beginning with the 10th inning, the Federation team at bat shall begin the inning with a runner on second base. The batter who leads off an inning shall continue to be the batter who would lead off the inning in the absence of this extra innings rule. The runner on second base shall be the player in the batting order immediately preceding the batter who leads off the inning. By way of example, if the number 5 hitter in the batting order is due to lead off the 10th inning, the number 4 player in the batting order will play second base. Winning pitcher. Official baseball rules shall apply to determine games. Video replay review. Team rankings. For round 1, the participating Federation teams are assigned and ranked in the pool based on the following criteria. You have the host country will be assigned. The team that participated in the Final Four of the 2017 World Baseball Classic will be assigned as top seeds. The remaining teams will be assigned based on December 31st, 2021 rankings in order to guarantee competitive balance. Commercial, geographic, and geopolitical considerations may be applied to this process. And yeah, so it's a lot of rules for this, but moving on. So we have Pool A in Taichung, Taiwan. It will begin play on the 8th of March. You have Chinese Taipei, led by reigning Chinese professional baseball league MVP Li Lin, and Quanhan Zhou, who led the league in home runs last year, who changed his name to reflect his Taiwanese indigenous tribe name, reached AAA with Cleveland in 2018. Outfielder Che Hsian Chen, who has walked more times than he has struck out in every season with the Uni-President Lions, should help set the table for the batters behind him. He'll be joined by Yu Chang Chan, who has a career /639 OPS with 14 homers in the majors. Pirates minor leaguer Son Che-Ching stole 33 bases in Class A last year. And the Giants' Kai Wei Tang with 11.2 strikeouts per 9 in Double A. The Netherlands is made of players of mainland Europe, such as Aruba, Bonaire, Curacao, Saba, and St. Martin. Cuba, powerhouse in international baseball. They won a medal in all 5 Olympic Games in which baseball was played, and is a sneaky favorite to go far in the tournament. Next up, you have Italy. Excitement is high around Team Italy with his new manager and Hall of Fame catcher Mike Piazza taking over the club. They have one of the best leads in Europe, and former Brewers pitcher Junior Guerrera made it to the majors in 2015 after pitching for San Marino. Italy is the most aptly nicknamed player in the majors on its roster in Royals slugger Vinny, Italian Nightmare Pasquantino, along with teammate Nicky Lopez, Cardinals starter Andre Palante, and Angels super utility player David Fetcher. Panama as well. The Toronto's team has yet to notch a win in the Classic. The crew could easily end that drought in 2019. Panama shut down Puerto Rico, the Dominican Republic, and Cuba to take home the country's first Caribbean Series title since 1950. Jamie Barrera leading the team, the Rockies reliever Justin Lawrence, and former major leaguer Javi Guerrera, but with veterans Christian Bethancourt, Jonathan Nunez, and Ruben Tejada in the lineup. Opponents could make wary of the bats as well. Dodgers prospect Jose Ramos can make a name for himself too. He mashed 2 monster home runs in the qualifying round, in addition to 25 homers in the minors, while adding in a single and a stolen base for good measure. Pool B in Tokyo, Japan. Although the competition is fierce, Japan's roster is deep. You have reigning MVP Munetaka Murakami, who bashed 56 home runs for the Yakult Swallows last year and surpassed the cherished league record for a Japanese-born player. Also makes the lineup menacing. You also have Otani on the team. He is joined by young starter Roki Sasaki, who pitched back-to-back perfect games for the Chibi Lotte Marines last year. Cardinals outfielder Lars Nootbaar and Padres pitcher Yu Darvish, plus new Red Sox outfielder Masataka Yoshida. Next up, Korea. Now, they may be the best up-middle defense in the tournament in Padres shortstop Ha-Seong Kim and Cardinals gold glover Tommy Edman, something that the pitch staff led by former Cardinals starter Kwon Han Kim, 20-year-old Lee Lee, and 21-year-old Han John. So we'll appreciate. Third baseman John Choi and first baseman Byung Ho Park, ranked number 2 and number 4 in KBO home runs. Next up, you have Australia. The well-known Australian in MLB, Liam Hendriks, will miss the tournament due to treatment for non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. The roster will feature former Tigers right-hander Warwick Saupold and Angels outfielder Aaron Whitefield. You also have China. Now, he returns for his 4th Baseball Classic shortstop Ray Chan, and China looks like they rely on his bat that has posted a .324 line in the previous tournaments. Surrounding him are Angels prospect and amateur free agent signee Alan Carter, who pitches his fastball into the mid-90s after transferring to Lee University, KBO reliever Kwon Ju, and NBP outfielder Yusuke Masato. Next up, you have Czech Republic. Former Major League infielder Eric Sogard provides the only big league experience, with Georgia Tech commit Michael Kavala was named the number 1 European prospect by Perfect Game. Nearly every other player was born in the Czech Republic and plays in its local amateur league. Catcher and middle of the lineup stalwart Martin Cervinka, who nearly became the first Czech-born major leaguer since at least 1952, picked up 6 hits and 2 home runs in the qualifiers and worked in sales for his day job, while star pitcher and firefighter Martin Schneider held the heavily favored Spain to 1 run for the CR to advance to its first WBC. Starting pitcher Lucas Ursoli doubles as the team's media manager, team's captain, and DH Peter Zema works in finance. And yeah, that'll be it for Team B. And then you have Pool C, who in Phoenix, Arizona, you have Team USA, who've had to wait 6 years to defend its first Baseball Classic title, but general manager Tony Regan spent the time well. It is arguably one of the best ever. They'll need all that talent if they want to repeat, especially since that year's MVP, Marcus Stroman, is now representing Puerto Rico. While Team USA has been strong this year, there are some All-Stars and Silver Sluggers at nearly every position, including 2022 National League MVP Paul Goldschmidt at first, defensive highlight reel Nolan Arenado across the diamond, JT Realmuto behind the dish, and an outfield featuring Mookie Betts, Cedric Mullins, Mike Trout, and Kyle Tucker. There are more All-Stars on this roster than there are available positions to play them. Even the rotation, usually the hardest across the field because of the fear of preseason arm injuries, is led by Cy Young Award winner Clayton Kershaw, 2-time All-Star Lance Lynn, and veteran starter Adam Wainwright. Yankees breakout star Nestor Cortez was also set to contribute, but pulled out after sustaining a grade 2 strain of his right hamstring on February 6th. He was replaced on the roster by Kyle Freeland. The expectation will be win or bust, but it will be considered a disappointment if the U.S. isn't playing on the tournament's final day. Next up, you have Mexico. It is led by Dodgers starter Julio Urias, who has won 37 times with a minuscule 2.57 ERA over the past 2 seasons. Jose Urquidy, Patrick Sandoval, and Taijuan Walker offer plenty of depth in the rotation, while the lineup features Alejandro Kirk, Red Sox outfielder Alex Verdugo, Brewers infielder Luis Urias, and Randy Rosiana. Though he was born in Cuba, he lived in Mexico after defecting from the country and played in the Mexican League for the Toros de Tijuana, and his daughter was born in Mexico. He became a Mexican citizen just last year, so he can now represent the country. Oliver Rodriguez is also playing for the team. He is a 41-year-old southpaw, is listed as the team's pitching pool, so he's eligible to be added to the team later. Next up, you have Colombia. The pitching should be strength just as it was in 2017. Mets offseason acquisition Jose Quintana and Padres Nabil Crismet have both returned. The roster should be much deeper with Harold Rodriguez, Oscar Mercado, and Gio Urshela, while Jonathan Diaz could make his breakout on the national stage. He got 15 games in his major league debut with the A's last year. after slashing .326 with 19 home runs while playing first, second, and third in the minor leagues. Jose Alfaro and Donovan Solano could also return. Then you have Team Canada. They hit just .155 and failed the homer in 2017. Josh Naylor and Joey Votto are unavailable to play, but Dodgers first baseman Freddie Freeman and Cardinals outfielder Tyler O'Neill should perform better than they did 6 years ago. After all, he was just 22 at the time. O'Neill, while Freeman was significant hardware since then, the Blue Jays' Otto Lopez will also get to represent his team as the only Toronto player to be featured on the roster. The rotation is getting a lift as Nick Pivetta and Cal Quantrill join a veteran pitching staff that features Matt Brash, Rob Zacharinsky, and John Asford. Braves starter Michael Soroka hasn't pitched since 2020 due to an injury. He will not be available this season. Next up, you have Great Britain. Now, the team stars Mariners' #1 prospect Harry Ford, given the name Harrison. His name is Harrison Ford. Picked 12th overall in the 2021 draft. He made easy work of the qualifiers. He went 5 for 11 with 3 home runs and 8 RBIs during the sprint through the qualifiers. Surrounding them are a mix of veteran major leaguers like Trace Thompson, Ian Gabao, and Vance Worley, and young prospects like Lucius Fox, Deshaun Knowles, and London-born Matt Kopernak, who reached AAA last year. You also have former big leader Michael Roth, who has pitched for Great Britain at all 3 qualifier tournaments the nation has played in, finally gets his chance to perform on the big stage. And then finally, you do have Pool D that plays in Miami. Puerto Rico will see its biggest stars return from the 2017 team that lost for a second straight classic, with Javi Baez and Francisco Lindor manning the infield and Edwin Diaz closing out games. Shortstop Carlos Correa will miss the tournament with a new child due to be born in March. With Yachty moved on from behind the plate to the manager's office after participating in the previous 4 events, Marcus Stroman is on the roster. That should add an interesting wrinkle. He was Team USA's winning pitcher in the 2017 championship. Stroman and Jose Barrios should lead the rotation. Next up, you have Venezuela. There was a debate whether Ronald Acuna Jr.'s injury history would prevent him from playing, but Braves pleased with his offseason progress. He is set to play. Jose Altuve, Salvador Perez, and Miguel Cabrera, one of the few players to appear in every baseball classic, are set to return, while Luis Urias, David Peralta, and Anthony Santander are joining for the first time, with Eduardo Perez and Pablo Lopez fronting the rotation and Ranger Suarez expected to relieve. Next up, you have Dominican Republic. General manager and Team DR designated hitter Nelson Cruz must have the Rodelas of Rodelas. The lineup is a veritable murderer's row, with Rafael Devers and Manny Machado battling for time at third base. Mariners station Julio Rodriguez joining in outfield with Eloy Jimenez and Juan Soto, and Vladimir Guerrero Jr.'s freshly minted Gold Glove and powerful bat just added to the mix. You have Sandy Alcantara fronting his staff and featuring World Series champion Kristen Javier, young Pirates fireballer Ronzi Contreras, and veteran hurler Johnny Cueto. And then you have Team Israel. The Cinderella team from 2017 will have its worst out. Israel will get to draw big league talent for the first time, however. Outfielder Jock Peterson took it upon himself to help manager Ian Kinsler recruit talent, with starter Dean Kramer, relievers Richard Blyer, and Jake Frischman, and catcher Garrett Stubbs joining the squad. Ryan Lavernway, named Pool A MVP in 2017, returns as well. And then finally, you have Team Nicaragua. The most surprising thing is it took this long. Home to former major leaguers Dennis Martinez, Vicente Padilla, and Marvin Bennard failed to qualify in 2013 and 2017, going 0-2 in the former qualifier tournament, getting mercy ruled by Mexico in the qualifier finals ahead of 2017. Pitching is the team's strength. Major leaguers Jonathan Loziaga and Erasmo Ramirez are the biggest names, while Brewers prospect Carlos Rodriguez and qualifier star Osman Gutierrez lead the rotation. That is going to be the 2023 World Baseball Classic preview for this season. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe down below. I really appreciate it, and see you in the next one. Peace.